Welcome to April 2020. My name is Jenessee Roy, and here we are again at the beginning of the month, ready to select our journey. How this works is I'm going to give you two options for this month of April. You can select the red path or you can select the blue path. So how do you choose what path to walk this April? Basically, what I'm going to do is give you the consciousness level that you should be coming into this month with. And what that means is I want you to get really grounded on what happened to you this past March. We've had so much happening to us this past March. And so what we're going to do is tap into that. Tap into the consciousness level, reading one specific energy for each path, the red path, and then the blue path. And then once you hear what that level entails, then you'll be able to select your path and then hear the guidance and wisdom that's coming through for you to experience, to learn from, to understand and grow with during this April. So we're going to get to that in a minute, but what I want to do first for you is get you anchored into what you can expect your experience to be with the numerology for April. So April is a 4-month, which means this is our building month. This is where our foundation starts to come in. This is where we actually start to get physical and bringing in some of those layers that are going to support us again over the next 30-year cycle of our lives. And remember, when we go bigger to 2020, 2020 is really about this 2-2, right? 2020. So zeros are always infinite potential. Think about the snake eating its own tail. It's the death and rebirth that represents the immortal cycle that we're on. And so it's just infinite potential. And then the twos are always the builder, the master builder when you get two twos together. And so here in April of 2020, this becomes the first glimpse, right? We've lived through this first quarter of this year. January was our new beginning. February was the duality, and we all know what that ushered in. Besides a Mercury retrograde, it then ushered in the pandemic. And then, here in March, we really had to focus on our human journey, the body, the physicality, what was going to stay with us and what was going to leave us, right? So huge shifts in March. And then here we go into April, and this becomes the actual first glimpse we get at what we're building as our stable, solid foundation to move and grow from, not only for this year, but then for the next 30-year cycle. And, if that doesn't make sense to you, I just want to engage you in this way. Everything that is building to this point in time that we're at right now has been a signal of the massive amount of transformation that humanity is going through. And so as we now step foot on this April 1st of 2020, this becomes the first brick in the path to our new world, our new energy, our updated human experience. And so what are you going to be bringing into this? What maybe is still needing to be shifted, right? Every time we do these pick your path readings, you're going to get what your mastery for the month is, meaning what are you, what on a karmic level is your soul trying to remember for you this month. And if you can learn and gain that wisdom during this month, oh my gosh, the amount of energy that just propels you forward on your life path and your divine destiny. Here's this human living this really interesting experience in this reality is going to become, and what you're going to tap into and really be able to play with moving forward. And then we tap into also the new beginning and the duality. And so each month brings us an opportunity to rebirth ourselves, and then also see where we might be holding on to old patterns that can take us off of the path. Sometimes things get scary and we want to repattern. We want to stay in the control of what we know. We want to, go back to something that's familiar. Yet divine, my understanding of why we are here, humans, this time around, is because we want experiences, right? And divine doesn't assign any positive or negative to any life experience. Everything in this reality that you can experience is part of your divine destiny. And humans are the only ones that attach positive or negative effects to what that experience could be. And so the goal of being human is really just to have as many life experiences as you can, and to choose then what kind of unique human experience your soul is going to attach to moving forward. So that is a little bit about the April energy. Again, we're building this this next phase of the new human cycle. Everything, if you were a skeptic up until this point, you're probably not watching me, but if you were a skeptic up until this point, I don't know how your eyes have not been opened yet. The amount of information that every seer, psychic, intuitive, clairvoyant, clairsentient out there has been bringing through leading up to this year, and then now what we experience as a worldwide pandemic that is really shifting the collective of humanity out of a physical plane, a physical existence, the hive mentality, and allowing them to step into this this new reality, this new experience, and really choose to transform themselves from the inside out and not separate, not isolate, right? And become, not become on an energetic sense so separated that you feel like you're alone in this, right? I think the ultimate goal of the physical separation and the physical isolation has been to open our eyes to the fact that we are all one and we are all connected in this reality through our physical means, through our emotional means, through our mental and spiritual connections. And so that is this April. It's a little microcosm of what you're building for this entire year. And so let's get started with the potentials of the path. So again, I kind of track out this way. I have things laid out over here, so excuse me when I look off to the side. But we are going to do the red path and then the blue path. Very different energies. Everything leading up to April has been so similar. So much dysfunction had come up over the last 2 months. And so I'm happy to report that at least this month we have some really specific and different options being offered to you for the path. So it should be an easy month to make a choice, to know where you are. So I'll just say really bold and blatant and easy. Red path is coming in with some shadow, meaning from March you probably got triggered a lot. And then blue path is coming in from March and really seeing the divinity in everything. Blue path is the one that is coming in awakened. March was an eye-opening integration, high self-connection month, meaning you found your spirituality, you found your purpose, you are so clear, so confident, so connected, you feel so in alignment right now. And that is blue path. Blue path comes in with the consciousness level of high self. I can't even express what this means except for you're coming in like flying in on a rocket ship, like a cowboy, cowgirl riding that rocket ship into April. You have all the energy and momentum behind you. You are just an enlightened soul right now. Probably the one source of light for a lot of, friends and companions and people. They're probably looking to you for guidance, inspiration. You seem to be really grounded, and not seem to be, you are. You've found an inner connection that people kind of can't. Right now, nobody can take that away from you. You're coming in as high self, as the source of divine connection for everything. You're living your journey right now. And so that is blue path. And then the red path comes in with the shadow of the throat chakra. And so I don't know about you, but as I started doing a lot of work on myself over March, as everything was shifting, as everything was transitioning, March for me became this complete awakening of the throat chakra. You know, in other terms, and I don't want to make the red path all negative. It's not, nothing, again, remember, only humans. This is Jenessee assigning the positive and negative to high self on blue path and shadow self. This is literally the duality between light and dark right here that we're getting. High self represents light and the shadow represents dark, the dark. But the beauty behind the high self and then the shadow experience, again, they're one and the same. They're just different versions of the same energy. And so where the high self, the blue path, comes in, again, just full steam ahead, so clear, so open. The red path is doing the same thing, but instead of coming from this high, standing on the mountain, very clear, very aware, the red path really comes in with having the dark night of the soul. Red path had to clear, do so much purging, clearing to get here, to get where you are, to get to this opening. There would have been lies, deceit. You would have probably been one of those affected by the collective unconscious that went into hive mentality, that went into the fear-based programs, that went into the anxiety based off of all this a pandemic, you know, talk around you. And you would have either been hyper aware of the duality that was playing out on the world stage, you know, where you're feeling and seeing one thing, but you feel like you're being either deceived or, you know, there's just differences of information, and that comes up as deceit to you. You're really feeling into discordant energy, patterns of again, it's deceit, it's lies, it's deception, it's, you know, all of this, whether it was happening directly to you from the people around you, which probably is the case as well, or even you to the people around you, or on the world stage, again, feeling into the deceit, the deception, the, you know, the fear, the anxiety, right, that was trying to create a reality that didn't feel completely right for you. And so what was happening for you, if you're picking the red path, would be you were inundated with all of this, and it was so discomforting to your being. It did not feel right. There were patterns and again, just this cloud of deception that just did not feel right, and you really had to about face 180, look inside and do the deeper work that you were being called to do, because there was something out of alignment. And so whether you were coming in from a high, you know, of the blue path and this high self energy where nobody could take you off the mountain, what you knew was true and nothing could touch you. Again, it's the king on top of the mountain that is untouchable, that is filled with high frequency energy, light energy, right? That is the blue path. And that means you're sweeping in from March, holding that energy, and now entering April with this just resonance to your divine purpose and why you are here, and knowing it's just full clarity. Where then you go to the red path, and again, this is deception, this is deceit, this is the shadow of the throat chakra. And so this is signaling that there was a need to go inward and to, again, just let go of more of those discordant energies, not only within you, but that's surrounding all of us right now in this collective unconscious. So what I wanted to say was red path, whether this path is speaking to what you needed to heal within yourself, which is, again, throat chakra energy, or if we're talking about astral plane, collective unconscious energy, whether you were becoming a vessel to literally help clear and purge and heal the deceit, the lies, the duality within the human plane, the unity plane, right? Whether this was happening specifically to you or whether you showed up as a clear soul to help purge everything that's happening for our collective of humanity right now. These are the two energies, but whatever one, they're so very drastically different. Blue path, you're coming in on a high, and red path, you are coming in sweating. And like you just did, 12 days of just like SEAL training on the beaches, right? And you're finally kind of coming up for water or air out of the water. And it's just like, that is red path. You have been, put through the ringer in March, because you're not only probably doing stuff for yourself, raising your own vibration, opening this throat chakra, the 5D, we're talking spiritual plane stuff here. I mean, depending on what level of experience, consciousness you are, you could have been doing this for your own throat chakra to open so you can claim your truth. But you could have been doing this on a much higher level of the collective unconscious, the unity plane, where you're actually now opening yourself up to the spiritual plane, the 5D, where our wonderful ascended masters hang out, right? And so, I mean, gosh, there's just so many. So again, there's nothing good or bad about either of these paths. Yes, in the human terms, the red path was a shit ton harder than the blue path, it sounds like, but both path comes in so perfect. So beautifully perfect. So don't ever think that just because one path was harder that it's, less valuable. I could go back and forth and tell you how amazing each path is, and how maybe high vibration or low vibration each path might be in a human sense. So, back to the blue path, although it might have been easier to hold on to your essence, the divinity, this might have been the first time that you were actually able to hold your vibration when faced with the collective unity plane that was going through so much trauma. And so, we could even say that is an isolation, because you stayed on top of the mountain and you didn't want to bring that high energy down, So, I mean, there's so much good, bad, and indifferent. None of this is right, none of this is wrong. It's just, what have you been experiencing in March, and what are you going to be transitioning to in April? Again, so pick your path. I will include now, I'm going to talk about the blue path first, just because it's the closest one over here. And so we'll talk about the blue path first, which is the high self energy. So if you've come in right in that rocket ship into April, pick the blue path, stay watching. That's going to pick right up after this. And then if you're picking the red path, again, don't watch both paths. If you watch both paths, you will be taking on double the energy. And it is not double the fun. So every human should really only have to process one karmic law each month. It's just, I don't suggest doing it any other way. And so we're really tapping into the mastery here of the wisdom of your soul experience, and then helping to guide you through the month based off of what that experience could bring. So look for the number here, click on that to go to the red path if that's the path you chose, which is, throat chakra, the lies, the deceit, the duality of what was happening on the world stage and in your life and everything transitioning. So click on that and go to that part of whatever that number is. Go there and listen to that startup of that path. So we'll get started then and jump right into the blue path. All right, so you chose the blue path. So you're coming in on a high, king or queen of your own mountain, able to hold that amazing energy throughout everything that's been happening. Your authentic truth is something that was so strong through March and now moving into April. So let's talk about the mastery of April for you and what you are unlocking, and what karmic kind of level, soul level stuff that you are expected to gain the experiences of for April, right? And again, April's all about building your path. So the mastery for you is all about courage, which is so very interesting. This is about your willpower towards what you've been creating in your mind. So to me, this is all about somebody who has really big ideas. Again, the energy that we're coming from, how the world has shifted, how the world has changed. If you are entering April with the same mental constitute that you had back in February, I would call you a charlatan. This is not the case. If your world has not completely shifted, again, 180 upside down, if your world has not been rocked, if you have not seen into the bigger picture of what is being kind of cracked open within you, then I'd say you haven't done your work. So, and I have courses for that. If you need to do your work, go onto the membership site, do some courses. It'll bring it out. What we've been put through as a humanity over the last few months has been really to let go of an old paradigm, an old system that's not working, and to crack open and literally cracking open our mental fields. I've received this multiple times as these intangible thought forms that I can feel as things shifting, as things moving, as things that I was attached to back in February or even March that I was creating and doing in full steam ahead with. Those things I have not been able to put any energy into, and I can feel things shifting, but I don't yet know what the big picture is. This is what we call the download. This is what we call a crown chakra download. And my friend, you come into this month with the energy of high self, which means boom, you were just wide open to your higher. We call these the higher chakras, the transpersonal chakras, everything that makes you connected to everything else here. Although you're just this one singular human, in the higher realities, you're everything. And so what you just came from was tapped into the everything. And now what's happening is you're pulling this in and you're integrating, and you're going to start getting awareness. And this is what your monthly mastery is all about. Your mind is going to be blown open. There are going to be thoughts you have that you have not had before. There are going to be ideas. This is going to be very left brain stuff, although it's coming through your intuitive centers because you're receptive through left and right brain right now, that beautiful, pineal kind of antenna up to high self that you opened up and connected to. You've been a receptor, and now this stuff is starting to get into your logical, rational brain, which means it's having applications reveal itself for your human journey. And so the really cool thing here is it is, and if it's not, it should be. This should be stuff that you maybe you felt into before, but you never could really think all the way through it. These should be big, new, scary ideas for how you move forward, what you build next, what your 2.0 version of life is going to be. Because what the mastery for you is saying is that it's going to take all of your courage. It's going to take all your energy, all your willpower. And that is what you need to cultivate. That is your guiding star, your North Star for this April. If you lose your courage, if you lose the energy, if you are finding yourself in patterns of laziness, slow down, not being inspired, you are off track. And you are off track because you are scared. And so everything for you, the mastery of this month, when you come into May, right from April, when you transition from April to May, the mastery for you will be when you cross that finish line and you feel like the red path did coming into this month. You cross the finish line of April and you're just like, I need a month's sleep. You're just like tired, exhausted, and you've probably created like 4 business plans for 4 different things, or put all that time, energy, and focus into mastering that one thing, right? So there's something new percolating inside of your mind. And again, it should be scary. It should be new. Right now, you might not even know exactly what it is. It might be hard to pin it down. When you have that thought in your head and you're feeling things, I always say crown chakra download, or what you've been tapped into, this high self connection download, comes in and it feels like a storm. When you're outside and the weather changes and that there's like a storm, or it's in summer and it's been a gorgeous day, and all of a sudden the barometric pressure drops, and all of a sudden the air just gets still, and then the leaves kind of turn up, and then you start to get that summer shower. That to me is what this download in your mind should feel like right now. You can't place it. You don't know when the storm's going to hit. You don't know if there's going to be lightning. You don't know if the thunder is going to clap or when it's going to clap, but it's going to clap. the lightning's gonna strike, and you just got to be ready for it. The effects you need to be feeling right now, I have like my hair standing on end on my body. That's part of it. Thank you. That's part of it. These sensations, it's these feeling senses that something's changing, something big is coming. It should be a heaviness in the mind where you just can't see it 100% yet. But that's what April's about for you. It's about every time you feel into it and get another little glimpse of it, do it, build it, create it, go for it, put all your energy into it, all your focus, all your attention, because this is where the mastery comes in. And again, it's going to be scary. It should be scary because it's so new, it's so different, it's so out of your element. And it's going to take all of your courage. So, the new beginning for you, and I always get this wrong. I always say full moons are I don't know what I say. I think I say full moons are at the end of the month. I think full moons always start at the beginning of the month. I don't know. I might be wrong again here. I'm not an astrology person. But I love new beginnings. New beginnings in my world happen around the teens of the month. And I think that's when the full moon happens. And so full moons are all about letting go something to then open up to the next potential, right? And so for you, the new beginning, which should come around the 10s, the 11s, 11's the perfect day for this, the 12s of the month, right? It's basically that second week in the month when this starts coming in. And this new beginning for you this month is going to be all about learning how to love yourself and the next level. It's like, you could probably tell me, I love myself, I've already gone through all that work. And it's like, no. Like, there is a whole new level that you're going to have to love your human. And this is talking about connecting your heart into what this part of the journey is when you've got no clue what you're building, when you've got no clue what you're doing. Again, your mastery this month is to build something so outside your comfort zone. It's to go for the gold. It's to start this passion project. It's to do something that changes the world, right? And that's from your own little microcosm of this human collective. Whatever that means to you, there's been something that's been in your mind and coming, and you've been processing and you've been feeling into, and it's like, it's time. It's time. Get off your ass. It's time. You have the support of everything connected to you to build this. It's time, and it's going to take all your courage. And the new beginning is you are going to have to love yourself so much more than you've ever loved yourself before, because there's going to be no validation outside of you. There's going to be nobody that's going to be able to tell you that this is right or wrong. It's going to be 100% on you. And if you do not have that self-love, that self-confidence to get through this, you will fail. And so every day that the criticism, that the self-judgment, that the worthlessness comes up, you have to find ways to love yourself. I have a really good friend who was going through a really hard time, and she did this thing where she would write little post-it notes to herself from Wednesday self to Thursday self, and just be like, Thursday self, you got this. You know what you're doing. You're the most amazing person in the whole wide world. Just nose to the grindstone today. And she'd write herself these little notes, and then she'd thank Wednesday self for writing Thursday self the note, and she didn't know how much she was going to need it. That's the level of self-love you have to come in at this month with. You have to be encouraging yourself every step of the way. Because what you're doing is so new for you, so different. And I'm making it sound like you're creating a new business, but there's so many people that in March have completely lost everything. And so this could be the slate has been wiped clean and you have no clue what to do next. And what this is saying for that part of the population, right, is trust. If we can see that all life is perfect and all life is always conspiring to bring us our highest truth, then trust that your slate has been wiped clean so that you could build and create this next version of yourself that is so scary right now, because because it feels like there's no ground underneath you. And divine would say, that's exactly right. We've planned it just this way. You have nothing. You have the cleanest slate you've ever had in your entire life to start building from. And so whatever you want right now, just go for it. Whatever's here, just go for it, right? And you have so much support. But again, there are patterns for you. Again, the full moon, the first of the month, the new beginning. Full moons highlighting things that old paradigms that you might want to bring in here. And your old paradigm is saying that there's been times where you get into, you have self-confidence issues, the worthlessness, the self-judgment, these things where you don't love yourself enough and you don't validate yourself enough to do this. And so that's where you really have to find and cultivate love for yourself each and every day, because it's going to take, again, all your courage to do this. And so the duality, the end of the month here, your duality comes in. And again, I love, now that I'm reading the astrology, right? The duality also comes in with the new moon right around the 20s of the month. And so find where that new moon is, because that's probably the apex of this energy. But the duality comes in with your relationships. And so this can either be business partnership, this can be romantic partnership, this can be the union. If we're going really, really spiritual here, this could be the partnership between you and high self. It could be a distrust in what you picked up on and what you were ushering into this month with. All the confidence you were cultivating, all the self-love, all the, courage to go for what's in your mind. Towards the end of the month, you might have this really big moment where everything's challenged, everything's scary, everything's, it's the big test, right? It's the big kind of, are you really willing to do this? Do you, if we throw up this last roadblock, are you gonna just succumb and give up, or are you gonna full steam ahead through that roadblock? And so, this can happen on many different levels here, but they're saying the duality comes up with you and another energy. Really spiritual would be you distrusting the perfect union that you're in with high self and with everything that's been cultivating for you through April. In a more physical way, this could be relationship issues. This could be, questioning who you're in partnership with, your business. So it could be anything like that. And so that is your blue path for April. Remember, April is the beginning. It's where you get to see the beginning steps of what you're creating. Not only that's going to be the, it's almost like and it's not the blueprint. March was the blueprint. March was getting the human in order to basically facilitate this new energy. April is like, if we're building a house here using this metaphor, this is digging the basement level and getting those the first structures up. This is what April is. And as soon as you frame out that house, you actually can start to see in the 3D reality what this house, what the size is and what it looks like, And so once that frame goes up, it's no longer here in the etheric realm. It's becoming physical. And that's what you're doing this April, is you're implementing the physical, the 4 posts, right? The 4 corners of this house. You're starting to build the structure. And so you're going to start to see what you're building, not only for 2020, but then what's going to be the beginning chapter of the rest of the 30 years of your life, right? Or the next, I should say, 30 years of your life. And I can give or take, right? 30 years, whatever. The next cycle. Okay, so that is your blue path. Remember to stay courageous this month. It's all about your courage, the courage to go for what you're constantly connected to in your mental field, to just go for it, get it, build it as much as you can, get it into your physical reality as much as you can. Again, the goal here is that you don't know what the final picture is going to look like. You're putting up the posts of the house, but the blueprint keeps changing. That is what April is all about for you. Have courage, my friend, and then love yourself, and whatever the duality is between you and this relationship, remember that you are authentic, that whatever the duality is, whether it's a romantic relationship that comes up to try and stop you from moving forward on this energy. Manipulation is a big thing here in sacral chakra and relationships. Whether it's a business partnership, whether it's a friend that comes up and tries to tell you you're not good enough, strong enough, I have a feeling they are going to be the ones that are the catalyst testing you on that deep self-love. Remember, because nobody outside of you this month is going to be able to validate what you're creating. It's going to be only a self-validation that you're going to get this month. And so I believe this duality at the end of the month is going to come up and challenge you to see if they can take away what you've been building, and dreaming and really wanting to create for yourself. So again, blue path with so much light and love. Until next time. Red path. Okay, I know I made it sound so terrible to be on this path, but it's so not. I really, I really feel like, how do I even want to say this? I feel like you are, I don't know a good metaphor. Here I go. I'm usually not at a loss for metaphors. Out of a chunk of coal, there's a diamond, and you can make a diamond. Like, that's what we're dealing with here. I feel like you were the catalyst for the collective unconscious to change this month. And you took on a lot of the bullshit energy because you're such a clear vessel, because you are so connected to the collective, because you care so much for your fellow humans, humanity, for, everybody out there. I feel like this is why probably you've been going through so much confusion, deceit, illusion. Not so much illusion, as this is very much so the vibrational energy of words, messaging, what's been being spoken. You might have even been the person that was clicking on 1,000 different YouTube, people to try and get messages for this month, to try and hear other people's opinions. Maybe you reached out to all your friends. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Like, everything was coming through. You needed to hear the vibrational resonance. And when you got that vibration, you could then see, wait, this still just doesn't feel right? It was such a tangible deceit. It's just everything here. You are so opening this. This is 5D ascension stuff. This is throat chakra awakening stuff. I mean, so powerful. So I just want to, it's not bad. Shadow is, anytime we talk light and dark, high self, like, shoot, I wanted to pick blue path, high self coming through, but I didn't have a blue path March. I had a red path March. And so I'm with you, friend. It was traumatizing this March. So, but again, when you walk the path of compassion for your fellow humans, all you can do is feel intensely and go through your own journey and experience, because the more life experience you have, the more connected you are to everything in this universe. And so the mastery for you this April, again, April's all about building your, it is the first month of the year that you actually get to start seeing in this physical 3D reality what you're creating, right? This is like the stepping stones. This is the framework. This is when you build a house. It's the 4 posts of the house that start to build and show you what the house is going to look like once it's finished. You kind of get to see the first glimpses of what that house is going to look like. That's what April is. April is this for our entire 2020. And then when you look back, right at the end of 28 years from now, when you look back, you could look back to this month and say, oh my God, if I only known, like, those things I was doing, if I only knew it would create all of this right here, right now, right? So just go for it, whatever's coming. And for you, this is so voice focused. You're being asked, you are right now, your monthly mastery, right? Which This is the karmic wisdom. This is the lesson that your soul right now is going through to tap more fully into its divine potential. And so this monthly mastery for you is all about your intuition in connection to your voice. And so it's about trusting what you're feeling. This is the intuitive antenna that goes up to, whatever you want to say. It's out of the 3D reality. This is the intuitive antenna that connects to your soul, your guardian angels, your collectives, everything, cosmically, everything, and pulls in, right? This is the I said it before, but the transpersonal antenna. This is what actually clears you to receive information that you are a vessel to receive. And then because you're a 3D vessel, you can then create something into this reality that others get to play with as well. And so you're right now manifesting prudence, which to me, prudence is this deep respect to put into vibrational resonance. Again, this is for you this month. Your soul level, the karma that you're working through is trusting that what I think is worthy of putting into speech, right? To me, the throat chakra is the most transformative vessel, one of the most transformative vessels. When you speak your truth, and lower vibrational people, when they speak their lies, right? When you put something into words and speak it, it creates such a ripple effect. And it is one of those ripple effects that you don't even know, because people take your words and then they go internally, they go to their non-physical state and they process and they feel. And when they process and feel your physical words, it creates such ripples through people's non-physical reality experience. And then they start to create things in their physical reality based off of how they felt about what you were saying with your words. It is so powerful. A voice is one of the most powerful tools we have for transformation. And so you are your soul level job this month in April is to trust that what you are tapping into, what you are thinking, but it's not just thinking. This is the intuition that you have, that whatever is coming through as inspiration, as intuition, as these, pops of ideas, that those things, and I'm not, again, I always make it sound like it's a business, right? It's because I turn all my inspiration into business plans. But this is literally just sitting next to another person when the isolation phase is over. When you're sitting next to another person and you think something and you have no clue why you think it, it's not swallowing that thought into your heart and suppressing it. It is saying it. No matter what you think about what you just heard in your head, you speak it. When you are lying down, I had this last night when I was lying down next to my son and I'm just going, oh, I love you so much. And it was the words inside my head. And in that situation, we were just snuggling on the couch, and it was like zoned out watching a show or a movie or something. And it was like, to just say that was a little bit awkward. It was a little bit disturbing to the silence, the connection, the everything we were in vibe with. But I went, no. These words can't be kept inside, and so I just said it, and he snuggled up even more, right? So maybe I'm picking up on that because he needs to hear that in that moment. And so what is it that you're swallowing and choosing not to speak out loud because it's not the right time, right? It feels a little off for the conversation. You have no clue what it means, right? Like, these are the things you got to get out of your own head. That's the left brain trying to come in and take the right brain antenna that's connecting you to everything you have the ability to connect into. That is disconnecting you. So, when you pick it up this month, your goal is to speak it, get it out into this reality, because the more you speak, the more your reality is going to shift and change to match that vibrational level at which you're speaking through. And this, to you, my friend, is the one thing that's going to change your life drastically and help you build what you need, the framework you need for this April. And so your new beginning, the new beginning, okay, so every other time I've reversed this, I think I finally have it right. The new beginning comes in around the 10, 11, 12, right? It's all the ones of the month to me. So it comes around that second week of April is when your new beginning happens. This is typically when the full moon happens, or the full moon happens a little bit before tens of the month happen, but the full moon comes in to represent those things that are still suppressed, right? The moon always exposes secrets. It exposes kind of things we've suppressed, things we've it's the change, right? It creates the change. And so then after the full moon, we go into this new beginning, this new phase. It's the butterfly moment, right? Where we get to spread our wings. And so for you, we can take this two ways, what's coming up for your new beginning, but it's about I'm just going to say it, arrogance in the hyper solar plexus chakra range, which is you needing to know, you needing to control, you constantly trying to project yourself into the future. This is a really sensitive person who likes to be, this is to me, there's like 1,000 images coming into my head, and I don't want to say any one of them because they call people, actors and actresses, out, right? So this is somebody who is so has created such an identity, has created such a persona that they need to control, that they're constantly making sure that person is perfect, that person is presented. I'm getting so many like people that, I'm sorry. Oh God, I don't want to do that. Okay, this is me. This is me not saying, like Kim Kardashian, right? Like I have to project my persona. If it doesn't match, if it's not on par with my persona, I can't, right? And so they're constantly in the future trying to make sure that what they're aligning to, it's arrogance. It's holding on to an identity to protect the identity and not being vulnerable enough. And so your new beginning is about allowing yourself to have this vulnerability. It's coming back. It's about helping you be the human you're meant to be, not the human you're trying to project yourself to be for the world to see, right? And so your new beginning is about letting go of the persona, letting go of the identity. It's about letting go of how people know you. You don't have to be everything to everybody, and you don't have to be your brand. You don't have to be, whatever it is, whatever stupid, and I apologize, but this is such a low self-protection mechanism to protect us from making a mistake and going off brand, or for making a mistake and looking a little insecure, for making a mistake and for God forbid being vulnerable in front of somebody. This is your new beginning. It is get out there and do it with no agenda. Be in the moment, be here, be now. And that, again, that in connection with this voice that you're speaking, this is the power that is needed. This is the energy that the world needs from you right now. And this is the energy that's going to build the beginning posts of your house that will start to show up in your 3D reality. Okay, so your duality comes up with manifestation, which is really interesting. So this is all about your purpose in connection to what you're building. And so I guess what this is saying, if I'm reading it right, is if by the end of this month you think you're going to have a clear vision, like think again, my friend. This, I think, is a warning that you probably have a tendency to see really clearly. You have a tendency of control. You have a tendency to think you know what's best for you, right? And I'd say this is probably the old pattern, but your purpose and connection to what you're building. And so because this is the duality, I think what I'm reading from all these energies combined, it's not just this final manifestation energy, but what I'm really reading here is you have a tendency to need to know. You have a tendency to want to control. You have a tendency to go so big picture. And what this is really, I think your April is about being so dang in the flow that it hurts, that you are blind to anything but this present moment, that you do not do anything you do not feel called to do in the moment. If it was on your list and you never have the energy all April long to do that, you never do it. Like, I feel like you are being smack dab, like thrown back into the source of your own soul. I feel like you are, every time you step out of that centered soul space, I feel like you're going to get smacked by the universe. You're going to get spanked by the universe. I really feel like, it's because everything, it's asking you stop trying to project something you're not. And it's not that you're not, it's just they want you to get out of the old paradigm of who you built yourself up to be. This to me is a final release of the low self. This is for somebody, I mean, God, this is such high stuff here. I guess I'm speaking to a lot of very enlightened beings on this one because of how I've wanted to reform all of the energies that came through. I really feel like you guys are opening to the spiritual plane, right? Which is the ascended master plane. This is like where you start walking your mastery, right? And so anyways, that was the energy that you were coming into this month with, right? You had to be cracked open yet again on another level. Feel for everybody this month is what they said to you last month. Feel everything. And so now you're here and it's like they want you to speak it. When you think it, just speak it, because these words need to be heard, whether they're good, whether they're bad, whatever, these words need to be heard. There needs to be no filter. Just you are connected to the 5D, the spiritual plane. So just speak it all. Speak the truth, speak the truth, speak the truth, because you are hurting not only the people outside of you that need to hear these truths, but you're hurting your own ability to be in the co-creation of this next phase of your journey, because you're blocking yourself from living the truth in which you're connected to, right? If you're swallowing that truth instead of just speaking it. And then the arrogance, they're saying, I wanted to say girlfriend, but boyfriend, whatever, like girl, guy, whoever you are, or unidentified, like get out of your own way. Like who you think you are is not even close to who you're supposed to be. Let go of that brand, let go of that image, let go of that identity, because that you is gone. And the longer you try and hold on to it, the harder this next phase is going to be. So they're really saying, get out of your own freaking way. The arrogance, boom, out the door. Like be vulnerable, show up every day, and be willing to learn something new about yourself every day. And then the duality comes in when it says your purpose is in your foundation and what you're building. And if you think you know what that looks like, you've got no idea. Like, again, get out of your own way. Like, I feel like this is like you are the child this month. And like divine is like literally they're okay with spanking, because I see as a little child, you're a little child, and you, every time you go off course a little bit, you just get a little tough in the butt, right? It's like, boop, get back on path, boop, get back on path. And so, when you get those like physical life smacks, know that that's divine coming in April and saying, you're off course again, get back in sweet spot, you're off course again. I feel like it's like a rubber band. When they're teaching people in recovery or something to stop things, and you put a rubber band around your wrist and you smack it, I really feel like you should do that this month. Let's all do that. Rubber band around the wrist, and anytime you don't say something and you swallow it, smack your rubber band. Anytime you're back in the old brand identity, the low self personality, you're trying to control a situation by pre-planning, by writing out a script for something, by getting all your ducks in a row, boom, smack that rubber band, right? Anytime you think you know what you're heading towards, what you're building, what this year is going to look like, boom, smack that rubber band, because my little baby friend, you've got no clue. That's what divine's saying. It's saying, if you think you know what this divine package looks like, you are so wrong. It is so much more glorious. You think you know what heaven looks like? Good luck, right? Like, go for it. Build your version, because what you could have built would have been so much more glorious. So that is your red path. And I just wish you so much light and love on this April journey. I know it's been rough. Trust me, I know it's been rough, and so I can't wait to get back out there and just touch some of you in a non-creepy way with light and love.
The Chakras Root to Crown Oracle deck is a tool designed to help people connect to their soul destiny. As humans, we live a birth to death cycle, yet as a soul, our existence is infinite. In each human life, our goal is to learn and connect to our authentic self. We seek guidance when we are repeating patterns and feel blocked from our purpose. This oracle deck breaks down a human's chakra system and uses that information as a roadmap. Each chakra contains physical, emotional, and spiritual information to navigate a clear path towards authenticity and awakening. By gathering perspective with a reading, you will gain soul-level wisdom. These insights bring depth to your spiritual journey and dissolve the blocks, unveiling your highest potential. Take the next step by selecting your layout and explore a reading today.